It's not every day that Gibraltar comes up in the House of Commons, let alone for 17 MPs to spend 30 minutes asking about the subject. The questions were kicked off by Tory MP Andrew Rosendale, who asked the Minister of State, standing in for Europe Minister Stephen Doughty, for a statement about last week's checks and stamping at the border.
My colleague, the Minister for Europe, North America and the UK Overseas Territories, contacted his Spanish counterpart, Fernando Sampedro, Secretary of State for the EU, in relation to this change in process. In parallel, the UK's ambassador to Spain engaged with the Spanish Ministry of the Interior. We understand that the change in process had been instigated locally by a Spanish border official. The matter was dealt with swiftly by Spain and usual border arrangements resumed. We are grateful to the Government of Spain for the continued implementation of the informal bridging measures. We are in close touch with the Government of Gibraltar, including Chief Minister Fabian Picardo, and will continue to monitor the situation.
Others chimed in, asking for commitment to British sovereignty of Gibraltar and raising issues such as the Chagos Islands, Labour's joint sovereignty proposal in 2001 and the pending treaty.
Madam Deputy Speaker, Gibraltar is British. Having myself visited Gibraltar to take part in a literary festival, I know, as many others in this House know, that Gibraltar is as British as bacon and eggs. The people of Gibraltar emphatically affirmed this in a referendum where 99% voted to remain British. We are counting on the government to stand squarely behind that commitment.
I think all sides agree on the importance of concluding an EU-UK treaty as soon as possible. That will bring certainty for the people of the region and secure future prosperity as well. We're absolutely determined to make progress on this issue, but above all, that double lock will always stay in place. Thank you.
There was also a reminder from an MP of how far-reaching flight diversions from Gibraltar can be.
Last week, my mother was desperately trying to get out of Gibraltar and back to the UK to be with my grandmother, who had suddenly turned very ill and was receiving end-of-life care. The plane she was due to get on diverted to Malaga due to adverse weather conditions, but the border was closed to the passengers, stranding British citizens in Gibraltar with no rescheduled flight and no offer of accommodation. Can the Minister advise, taking into account the challenges that Gibraltar Airport faces, what steps she is taking to ensure that British passport holders facing emergencies can cross the border into Spain and return home swiftly?
There have, of course, been two challenges, both those around disruption caused by bad weather, for example, to Malaga, when otherwise there would have been planes landing on Gibraltar, but also issues, as she mentioned, with the airport. They've been caused due to ingress of water into the airport. I do want to pay tribute, if I may, Madam Deputy Speaker, to the RAF staff who've been working round the clock to try and set that right. We do recognise the disruption here, and we will continue to make many representations in order to ensure that those who should be able to smoothly exit and enter Gibraltar can do so in the future.
The conversation picked up in the House of Lords the following day, with similar discussions about the checks seen by Spanish officers last week.